Hey everybody, Chris back here to make another video. This one's going to be a jazz vinyl finds. I know I've been talking about making one for a while in previous videos, so finally got some jazz albums cleaned from downstairs and brought them upstairs here to the collection and decided it was time to make a video on them. A lot of them are kind of the funk, fusion-y jazz type albums that I picked up. I didn't really have any, and I thought it'd be cool to get. So, also be making some contest videos coming up soon. There's some really good ones. Back to the vinyl. Obviously, it's a pretty cool video or pretty cool contest. I'm still trying to think of where I want to shoot it. I just don't want to do it at work or something, or my work's kind of boring like that. So, thinking of where I want to shoot that, and then obviously Andre over at Linda Leg. Definitely want to enter his contest. He's a great guy, and got a cool concept for a contest. So I've been thinking about that one as well, and so I'll be getting those out pretty soon. So here we go for the first one here. It's Donald Byrd, Thank You for Funking Up My Life. It's from 1978. This was his first record on Elektra after he left Blue Note. He made several albums on Blue Note. I wouldn't really call this, I don't know, I have a hard time calling it jazz, but I guess technically it is, but it's more in the funk, soul, I don't want to say disco, but I mean it's pretty close, so it's okay. I prefer his earlier work on Blue Note, but it's still not a terrible album, and I can still listen to most of it. So next up, one of my favorite Blue Note albums, and probably my favorite by him, but Dexter Gordon, Go. It's from 1962. I think this one has, it's got Sonny Clark on piano, Butch Warren on bass, Billy Higgins on drums, so a very good lineup. This is a French audiophile, DMM pressing from the 80s, 85 I think. Yeah, 85. It's a great album. I think the song I would probably have to give you off here, if I was going to do a needle drop, would be Cheesecake. It's probably my favorite off that. So if you don't have that, it's definitely a good album to pick up. Some of the earlier presses can go for quite a bit of money, so I had to settle for a later pressing for right now. Can't get them all. Next is Supersax, Salt Peanuts. Now this started as a Charlie Parker tribute band, the group Supersax, and then they kind of started making their own albums and stuff like that. This one's from 1974. This is a repress. I think there's a different cover, but this is on the Pazza label. So I think not this album, but maybe the one after this, or maybe somebody knows. But I think they actually won a Grammy for Best Jazz Album, so kind of weird for a group to start as a tribute band and then kind of win a Grammy, so that's kind of cool. Next up, man needs no introduction, John Coltrane Quartet. Coltrane. As you can see, it's a Japanese pressing. It's from 1962, so it's an early Japanese pressing, and it's got Elvin Jones on drums, Jimmy Garrison on bass, McCoy Tyner on piano. Great lineup. Love McCoy Tyner especially. It's great free jazz, as with all Coltrane. Obviously, we're listening to Coltrane right now. I'll talk about that album later, but great free jazz. Did not have this Coltrane in the collection. I'm trying to get a lot of his stuff. It's harder to get. This one kind of popped up on the old auction site there, and it was a great deal. I couldn't pass it up, so I just got that one. This one's on Impulse as well. You probably already know we sell them. 1962. Alright, going back to a little bit more jazz funk fusion. The Billy Cobham, George Duke band. live tour in Europe. More jazz funk fusion. This one's on Atlantic. Obviously, they have. This is more later in the '70s, so they have like some. This is '76, I believe, but they have, you know, electric drums, synthesizers, and stuff like that. Not really my favorite cup of tea as far as jazz goes, but it's definitely something I can still listen to and enjoy. So, just some info on that one. It's another Billy Cobham. It's called Inner Conflicts. This one's a little bit better than that last one. This one's a little bit more like a spacey type feel. So if you kind of like that, you probably like this. This is from 1978 on Atlantic as well. I definitely like this better than the other one. Let's see here. I think it was Arroyo, which is like the third song on side 2. I actually enjoyed. The next one, I kind of talked about this guy in my last video about some great, you know, some cheap jazz, really. I mean, this man, you can always find his albums fairly cheap. This is Grover Washington live at the Bijou. Switching sides on you here. So this is from 1977, double LP on the Kudu label. The Bijou Club was actually a club in Philadelphia, I guess. Let me show you the Kudu label. I guess there was a club in Philadelphia that a lot of people played at, and they just happened to record this session. Kind of a soul, you know, I guess funk kind of soul again. Like I said, I picked up a lot of these funk soul albums, but this is actually enjoyable. There's actually some elements of jazz on here that I really enjoy. Next one, another Donald Byrd album. This one's called Places and Spaces. It's from 1975 on Blue Note. This is the second to last album that he ever made on Blue Note. Once again, kind of keeping with the same thing. Kind of an Earth, Wind, and Fire type, you know, vibe that way. But very good rhythm guitar playing on this one. Let's see. Places and Spaces on side 2 is a great track. But definitely, you know, another departure away from his typical traditional jazz, I guess you could say, and you know, it went to this. You know, a lot of the guys started going to like the funk, soul, disco-y type stuff, but this one's more of like Earth, Wind, and Fire type stuff. So this was more enjoyable than just the disco-y type stuff. So definitely a good album. I really like this one. All right, next we have Lenny White, Venusian Summer. This is on Nemperor Records. More jazz funk fusion. Lenny White was a drummer, so he had some other artists on here with him, but there's a song called Chicken Fried Steak that piqued my interest because I enjoy chicken fried steak, but it's actually a great song. They actually call it a California delicacy on the back of this, so for all you California people, this is a delicacy. Next one, man, needs no introduction really. This is Dave Brubeck Quartet. This is Jazz Impressions from Japan. It's 2i Columbia. It's a really good jazz album. Eddie Brubeck is just fun to just sit and listen to, and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, my favorite is always going to be, you know, Take 5, but this is a great album. I think I got that up there too. Yep, got that up on the wall. So Now we got Herbie Hancock, Best Of. The cover's a little roach, but the vinyl's still really nice. This is Blue Note released this after he already left a Blue Note. But it's got Maiden Voyage on here, Watermelon Man, Clarinet, Triangle. He plays all kinds of different stuff on here. Let's see. Yeah. He plays triangle, clarinet. I mean, he plays several instruments on this album. Well, it's not really an album. I mean, it's a compilation. But picked this up on the auction site for really, really cheap, so couldn't let it go. Sean Roland Kirk, Natural Black Inventions, Root Strata. This is a little different. He plays, you know, saxophone, flute, clarinet. He's kind of known for playing instruments, like a bunch of instruments all at the same time. So it's definitely a pretty crazy album. It gets a little too crazy for me at times, but this one's on Atlantic from 1971. It's still enjoyable, but definitely couldn't put this on with a wife in the room. She would just think it was a humble, you know, or a jumble mess or something like that, I guess you could say. So, but I still enjoyed it. So, all right, this one's from 1964, the Horace Silver Quintet, Song for My Father. This is just a fantastic album. I mean, I don't know if any of you have heard Horace Silver. I'm sure if you're watching this video, most of you have, but he is definitely my favorite jazz pianist of all time. Any album he makes, I've been trying to get, and this is an original press on Blue Note. I really always try to get the original press, but it doesn't always work out. There's a super great condition, and I couldn't pass it up. This is top 3 of his albums for me. 6 Pieces of Silver will always be #1, just because, I don't know, I guess it was the first I've heard of him, so I really enjoy that album. But this is a great album. Who plays on here? Joe Henderson, Teddy Smith on bass, Carmel Jones on trumpet, so very good lineup. This was only my 2nd or 3rd album by this gentleman. This is Yusef Lateef, live at Peps. It's on Impulse as well. See the orange. But Peps, I guess, was another club in Philadelphia that they decided to record Mr. Lateef at. Pretty famous jazz club. But this is from 1965. He plays several albums on here. There's a little shot of it. I kind of already showed it, but great album. The Weaver is a great song on there. All right. Miles Davis, Someday My Prince Will Come, 1965. Picked this one up at an estate sale. Great condition. A little bit of writing on the back right there. But this is a 6i Columbia pressing, I believe. But this is a fantastic Miles Davis album. Very, I don't hear people talk about it much, but you know, this is 6i. It is a fantastic album. I mean, John Coltrane, Hank Mobley, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, Jimmy Cobb. I mean, really good lineup. So, if you don't have this one, it is a fantastic album. Definitely top 3 Miles Davis for me. Pick it up. Oh, I'm losing stuff here. Next up, another trip back to the Jazz Fusion. Donald Byrd Blackbird. I know a lot of you probably already have this. It's from 1973 on Blue Note. This is definitely the best of his, you know, funk type albums. if I had to pick one, it would definitely be this one. Blackbird, the title track is great. What's on side 2? I really liked one. I think it was Sky High or Slop Jar Blues. I can't remember which one, but both those songs are great. So, there you go. Dexter Gordon, Gotham City. This is one of his later albums, 1981. It's on Columbia, but I mean, you should really listen to it. It is a great album. I really don't like a lot of jazz musicians as they get older. It seems like they start kind of experimenting a little bit, but Mr. Gordon here, it's definitely a traditional jazz album, which I enjoy. So it's got a great lineup on it too. It's got Art Blakey on drums, Percy Heath on acoustic bass. I mean, really good lineup. I think George Benson and Woody Shaw actually make an appearance on there somewhere. So very good lineup. Sorry about that. All right, now we got Nat Adderley, Double Exposure. This is on Prestige, 1975. Definitely did not know about him. Saw this at an estate sale, and obviously I wanted to pick it up. Any jazz I see for, relatively inexpensive, I have to pick it up. But definitely started hearing about, or I started reading about how he was the younger brother of Cannonball, obviously, and they kind of both got their start at a club in New York City. They just kind of showed up ready to play, and I forgot the musician that actually let them play in New York City, but they just kind of were always ready to play, so they went to this club every night with their instruments, and 2 musicians didn't show up one night. Both of them got their start that night, so the crowd really liked them. So I was very fascinated by him and by his family. So this album is actually pretty good. Cannonball plays on this on a couple of songs. Some songs are kind of funk a little bit, but most of it is traditional jazz. He does a cover of Watermelon Man, Herbie Hancock, on here. I think he does another cover, maybe not, but he does a cover of Watermelon Man on here, which is decent, but I definitely prefer the original. And looks like it stopped, but we were listening to John Coltrane, First Meditations. This one's on Impulse. I think it might be a promo copy. It was a promo stamp on the record, maybe, or something. I don't know. But this is a great album. Once again, free jazz. McCoy Tyner, Elvin Jones. Seemed to be a popular lineup for Mr. Coltrane. So there's a song on here. I think it's called Compassion. But I mean, it's 10 minutes, and it's a really great track. I think it's the second song on side 1, and it is a really long and just really great track. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, I suggest it highly. So, and last but not least, Mr. Miles Davis, Porgy and Bess. Now, you see a lot of Porgy and Bess albums out there, but a lot of people are trying to. This is Porgy and Bess, I found out, later on, but it was a George Gershwin orchestra. This one was directed by Gil Evans, and Miles Davis kind of did a, team up, I guess you could say, and they decided to make this album. I guess Miles was kind of getting bored with the traditional bebop and started making this album to, I don't know, kind of get different, I guess you could say. I think Gershwin's opera was from the 30s, I believe, and it's a little bit big band type feel from Miles, but still enjoyable. I enjoy it more than most big band stuff. So just some quick jazz finds I found for you guys. Well, found for me, and I'm just showing everybody. But hope you enjoyed them. Some of them, I'd probably say 75% of them are really enjoyable. 25% are, on the you know, iffy side. I'll still be keeping them, but kind of come back to them at a later date maybe. So anyways, I'm over 20 minutes now. I try to keep my videos under 20 minutes, but hope you guys have a good week. I got to go back to work tonight, so hope you have a good week, and we'll talk to you later.